88 days. Let's see if I can get on Facebook. So much to say. Um, every day breaking news. And I just want to talk a little bit about our experience that we've had in these over 3 years. And I think it's just so telling. And I and the reason why I want to tell it is so that all of you that face similar problems, because this is not isolated to the Halliday family, Team Find Richard Halliday. So many people have fallen victims to the schemes, to the corruption, to the greed, to the criminal syndicates, the criminal cartels, um, and so many have fallen victim, and it's just really difficult to try to know how to get through uh, the weeds, try to get justice. And we've been making some amazing strides lately. I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but it's been really amazing. And we to see how far that we have come and the responses that we are getting. And I can tell you, absolutely institutional support right now. We have the ears of the institutions right now. They absolutely know who Richard is. They still haven't said Richard's name. Okay, they need to say Richard's name. But I think that we're getting there. We're getting there. So I now want to thank everybody, um, because we live in a time where we think everything should happen. Let's see. I got one person there. Okay. I see it on. Okay. So sorry. We're going to be burning the midnight oil again um, tonight. We really are. But that's okay because this is very, very important information that the midnight oil needs to be burnt for this kind of information because it will help so many people. Our experience, no matter what the outcome is, what I want it to be is a blessing. What we want it to be is a blessing for others. And, trailblazers, right? Trailblazers, that used to be such a wonderful thing to be a trailblazer, and a very, very difficult thing to be because you had to go through the rough. You had to go through the rough. You had to get hit in the face with the branches. You had to get bitten by the snakes because the grass was so long that you were walking through. You had to risk your life as a trailblazer to make a path for others. And so, if we can just be a blessing in all of this, and on top, and our goal is to get justice for Richard. Was he forcibly taken out of his barracks room on Fort Bliss? Absolutely. Was he retaliated against continuously and severely by his command for his whistleblowing? Absolutely. There's no doubt. There is no doubt because we have the hard evidence, we have the irregularities, and we have the circumstantial evidence that proves all of that. It's absolutely proven. And so there's no doubt that he was mistreated, that there was abuse of power. And we see that what it's doing, just trying to find our son, just trying to debunk the smear campaign that was on him, the false narrative that was given out, the lack of media coverage, the lack of truthfulness from the PAO, the schemes the absolute lawlessness, the criminal behavior of our generals in all of this. They're absolute criminals, y'all. Absolutely criminals. We cannot go to war because we cannot trust our generals. Okay? I'm just telling you that. This, that might be unpopular. That might be a very unpopular stand. And it might be something that, like, especially in an election year, that would be like, oh, no, no, because we need the support of our military. Yes, we need the support of our military. And the military, the regular grunt, the regular service member, absolutely knows that our generals are criminals. They're criminals. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about General Mealy. I'm talking about General McConville, who's retired now. General Garrett, who's retired now. Um, Absolutely, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. He absolutely needs to be arrested. He's absolutely a betrayer of this country. And absolutely, Donna Martin, three-star General Donna Martin, absolutely needs to be arrested. Absolutely has betrayed this country, the very service members that she is supposed to protect and fight for. She was in charge of the CID, of Fort Covassos, Fort Hood. You can change the name, but it's still the criminal pot, right? And she, and that, in her position when she was there, was over Fort Bliss also. Okay, and she absolutely betrayed everything that she took an oath to, everything, for foreign and domestic enemies. For the third star, it was more important for her to get the shiny star than to protect her service members, her fellow citizens of this country. And she's IG right now. Okay, she's Inspector General of the Army, and she's absolutely needs to be arrested. So, and then you have this same operating. Seems like in the DA office, the betrayal of El Paso. Um, it, it's just so clear. It's been all exposed, and this started before DA Hicks took office. And we have the open records now. We're getting more. We're getting more. They've come in. And you wouldn't believe it's like he was spying uh, to overthrow an elected DA. You know, working working in what's the right word to say? I want to say colluded. They were conspiring, they were colluded, but they were working in concert together to illegally to make Yvonne Rosales, who was the elected district attorney, duly elected district attorney, to make her life so miserable, to make her look so bad. They did that smear campaign so that she would have to and then with I think it was Judge Madrano, um, just acting in concert together criminally, criminally. And, you can say, oh, that's Yvonne Rosales. No, this is the people of El Paso. This is all of those 200, I think 230,000 people that voted for her. This is who they were working against, okay? It wasn't Yvonne Rosales. It was those that voted for Yvonne Rosales. They didn't like it that you voted for her, okay? They didn't like it because I guess she wasn't in their pocket or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that the open records show that they were criminally working together in concert like an orchestra, a bad orchestra at that, um, to unseat her, to make her life so bad as a DA that she would resign in duress. And that's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened, and it's so sad. And I'm very sorry, Yvonne Rosales, from a human standpoint. I'm very sorry that she went through that. It is awful, and I don't understand. Where is Veronica Escobar? Okay, Veronica Escobar, all of her language, all of her rhetoric is all about protecting the Latino female, right? The woman, and breaking that glass ceiling and all of. Where is she? She did not have Yvonne Rosales' back at all. She's all talk. She is absolutely all talk. And I could tell you stories. I could tell you some things. It's just so bad, y'all. It is so bad. Against, this is an attack. This is weaponizing the very agencies and organizations that the El Pasoans pay for against them, you know, and it's like, okay, so let's have our money back. Go away. We don't need you to take our money, our support, and weaponize it against us. What? To turn into bullies? To extort us for, future taxes, or, um, for lawlessness, for a political end, for your political endeavors or whatever, because absolutely they are not working for the beautiful El Paso. El Paso is an ancient city. It is on a foundation that, they're called the miners, right? El Paso's called the miners. There are so many things to discover uh, about the past. I don't even know if El Pasoans know how precious their history is. Maybe it's been kept from them. I don't know, but it is worth fighting for. And the Veronica Escobars, the Do Nothing, Vanity Fair, Veronica Escobars, they are not helping El Paso. They're not helping El Pasoans, and El Paso is worth fighting for. El Pasoans are worth fighting for. And remember, it is the land and the people. The land and the people. It's so important because one can't exist without the other. And a land without justice is just a band of robbers. Okay? It's just a band of robbers. And we don't want to be that. You know, we want to progress. We want to be able to do the things, uh, you know, um, take hold of the talents that God has given us and actually do them, right? And produce something and help each other out, help, invent things and make things and build things. And El Paso has a great start because it has a foundation and it has a grid foundation. And you can see that in that beautiful old map that I posted up. I think I posted it yesterday. You can see it, and if you go on Google Maps, you can see its beautiful foundation. That's why I say that there's tunnels, because it's an ancient city like Chicago or like San Francisco. These are ancient cities, and so El Pasoans have something to really fight for, and I hope that. You continue to follow us, continue to share all the information that we are giving, because today, that was kind of my intro. Today, what I wanted to share is that when you are fighting for justice, right? Um, I think there's a really good meme. I was just talking to a friend about it uh, just now, before I went on, and it is the light at the end of the tunnel. But the meme says it's not the light that is the illusion, it's the tunnel. Okay? It's the tunnel. And I would say absolutely. In the tunnel, if I was going to make a meme, I would put little post-it notes all over the tunnel going towards the light, and those post-it notes or signs or whatever would be saying um, responses from the Department of Justice, responses from the FBI, even though they're really helping us out right now. And I'm very grateful because we absolutely kept our eye on the light. Okay. And so every time that they would, try to say, no, we won't help you. No, we're not going to help you. No, this is the end. This is the final letter. This is a, you know, uh, don't pay attention. Do not pay attention to their, um, trying to pass the buck, trying to pass the buck, trying to get away from having to do their duty because it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable to do your duty when you have some corrupt people around you. And some people are losing their jobs. They're speaking out about the corruption, about let's say you're working in an office that has some pedophiles in it, some active pedophiles, and you tell your boss, hey, these pedophiles, they are making advancements and really upsetting the workplace and everything like that. We're not going to have it. We don't want to be part of it. And the boss, you know, says, okay, you're fired. And you're like, what? You're not going to fire the pedophile? No, you're fired. What? It's very uncomfortable um, to be a whistleblower. It's very uncomfortable to stand up for what's right because absolutely those pedophiles should be fired because they don't have the best interest in the work area if they're bringing their lawlessness into the work area. And why aren't they calling the police on them and having them arrested? The last time I looked, being a pedophile is still a crime. But it seems that it has been allowed to spread so much, and whistleblowers have been so smeared and even fired and even murdered, bullied, everything for calling out these pedophiles that people are afraid. They don't want to lose their job. They don't want to be uncomfortable. And it's just been growing and growing and growing, and so many children have suffered. And this is an analogy, but it's a true analogy. And I feel for those that have been fired because they're trying to do what's right, trying to make a very productive working um, workplace, and they think that they're going to get support, and they don't, and they don't. Um, and the answer to that is to keep going. Find a different job, keep going, do it again and again and again and again, and keep sharing and be fearless. Be fearless in the face of the uncomfortableness of sticking up for what is right. And we absolutely knew that what they were saying, what they were doing, was absolutely insanity. That's what I called it at the beginning. This is insanity. And it was. And the whole COVID thing was so insane. The whole COVID mandates was so insane. It's still insane. Um, and so what they were saying about Richard, it was a very, uh, Twilight Zone situation that we found ourselves in 2020 and 2021, 2022. 2023 has been very, very productive. And then 2024, we're getting the fruit now. We are getting the fruit, and I'm um, really, you know, I always tried to look for every bit of institutional help that we were getting, and be very appreciative of it. Now it's getting easier and easier and easier to see. We have the proof of it. We have the case numbers. We have, um, the whole exposure of Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr. That's a very, very important because we were always wondering, how is the FBI not doing anything? I mean, Veronica Escobar said, "Oh, we need to get I agree with Mrs. Halliday. We need to get a third party, right?" And that would be the FBI. We need to get the FBI, and I'm like, okay, well, she never even did anything to help us. Ask the FBI why they weren't doing anything because of um, the conflicts of interest that Nieto has with the FBI man, right? That walked into the Dollar General and said the FBI had found Richard's body in Juarez. They were looking in Juarez for Richard's remains. They found Richard's remains in Juarez, Mexico, and he's dead, right? Shh, shh. And that's a secret. Why is that a secret? And Jesus Nieto, why is that a secret, right? And then, of course, the conflict of interest with Angela Kachurga. Yeah, yeah. And with Dr. Mario Rascon Ortiz with 3905 Bliss Avenue, with Bliss Avenue, right? 3705 Bliss Avenue. And there's more. There's more. Um, and, so there's all of these. Oh, and with Bradford Bugado, the lieutenant colonel in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM. So now we understand why Nieto, who, worked in concert with dirty agent Marlon Soto, with dirty agent Tavita Nusa, right? Which means dirty Leilani Hart. I mean, it's very clear they're all, who is the mother of Richard's platoon leader, and all connected with Danae Katzen, right? Who was the credit card girl, the Jane Doe that um, ended up on the 10 most wanted fugitives list because she has such a bad criminal record. I mean, these are convicted criminals, right? And now with Leilani Hart going after a key witness in Richard's case, she didn't check her boxes quite right. And so she lets the cat out of the bag, right? Her witchcraft didn't work right, and the cat got out of the bag. And she mentioned Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. And by doing that, she exposed, because that was not out there yet. That means if she has insider information about Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, that means she is working in concert. Can I say it? Can I say it? She was colluding then with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia or someone near, someone near, because she was getting information leaked to her that was not out there yet. And by doing that, we looked into that, found the 3905 Bliss Avenue, and voila, it was Tanya Katzen. It was the Katzen family with William Beaumont Army Medical Center involved in this whole deal for mortuary affairs. And there was Danae Katzen. All of this stuff kind of came together. And it doesn't stop there, because all of these things lead back to Leilani Hart. Leilani Hart seems to have been the conductor of this concert, right? The conductor of the concert. How did she get this kind of power? But she was even bragging about it, that she is leading it, that she is a conductor of this concert. And so, you know, to see this coming out, this took over 3 years. And this took keeping our eyes on that light, and that's what we're still trying to do with it. People are will be talking into your ear the whole time. They will be getting you leads, and they will be talking about the directions that they you should go in. They'll even try to pull you on strings to go this direction and that direction, and then they will start smearing you, and they'll try to intimidate you, and they will retaliate against you and threaten you. They will do all, it's amazing what criminals do. There's no honor amongst thieves, because then they even start inner fighting with themselves, right? And so, and they'll sell each other out. They will absolutely sell each other out. So you have to realize that, they don't have, um, I would say, the prayer of humble access. They don't have that, right? Towards that light, that prayer of humble access towards the light. And so they're fighting. They don't know how to access what is good, what is true, what is noble, what is praiseworthy. They don't know it. They don't know how to get through the door. They don't know where it's at. They don't know. There's no loyalty among them. They're just thieves. They just want to take, grab, take, grab, take, grab. And then they just do so many evil narratives to cause chaos and division. And that's, you know, and if you know all of that, if you can just hold on and not be afraid of living, not be afraid. This is the thing. Not be afraid of losing everything you have, right? Um, and something my dad always told me too. We come into this world, we don't have anything. When we leave, we don't have anything. We can't take anything with us, right? We have to leave everything uh, to others. We have to have that will. We have to, yeah. So, but we can't take it with us, you know, and we just can't be afraid um, about anything. You've really got to stand up. And I think that, well, the only thing you really need to fear is God alone, right? And and the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Then you'll say, "Oh, there's a light." There it is. And all the people that were saying things, and you have to take them into consideration. We took everybody's input into consideration. We padded our files with it, right? We padded our evidence. Uh, we have so much evidence in our coffers. We just padded it and padded it and padded it. And then we've been using that to pad the agencies that, are just so afraid to do anything. And we have so many of them, oh, you have to go to this office. Oh, you have to go to this office. Oh, it's that agency. Oh, it's that agency. And I'm like, wow, we are so heavy with government, so heavy with government. And I think they're confused on what they're supposed to do, because we're $34 trillion in debt, and we don't have much to show for it. And we have a lot of fentanyl. We have a lot of education problems. We have a lot of family problems. We have a lot of crime problems. We have a lot of infrastructure problems. And they all talk about climate this and climate, but uh, we have um, farming problems and forestry problems. I mean, if they cared about the land, if they cared about the climate and all this stuff, they would be cleaning up our forests, so our forests would be healthy. Um, they would be absolutely letting everybody farm the land, because that creates a healthy land. And rotate the crops, and just really work the land, because that's what makes it healthy. To just stay there and sit is the worst thing for it. It really is. Every 7 years, let it rest, but then you've got to work it, right? It's kind of like our own bodies. If we just sit there and sit, if we don't use our brains, if we don't, it's the worst thing, you know? All kind of disease can come into it. And, absolutely. If we want wildlife, we need to work the land. The wildlife love a beautiful garden, right? They love the worked land. So, and I hope this is making sense because what we're being told and what really is the truth are, you have to realize that you're being lied to. You have to realize that you have to discern what you're being told because a lot of it has a propaganda element to it or it's like a twisted truth. Um, and we have experienced all of that. The lies, very little truth. Very, very little truth. Okay. Only the bare minimum, what they just could not get away from lying about. But Richard's identity definitely has been stolen. Um, I- and that is like a norm. And of course, his remains. His remains. And they absolutely have hid his remains from us. And I don't think they can produce them. Um, but I want to know. I absolutely want to know. And so with this, all this exposure with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, what that did is she is um, the ex-wife of a victim of the August 3rd, which is Dallas Hart's birthday, and Dallas Hart is a prime suspect in the disappearance and murder of our son Richard. Uh, During that August 3rd, 2019 Walmart mass shooting, uh, Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia's ex-husband, okay, they've been divorced for over 20 years, um, was found with a uh, not too good, not too good, right at the front door, right in the entrance of the front door in Walmart with a shot to the head. And even though there's some weird discrepancy of him dying at 1824, which would be 6:24 p.m. I don't understand that. That needs to be explained to us. Um, so what that did is shine a light on 3905 Bliss Avenue, which connected to, of course, Danae Katzen, Tanya Katzen, the Ortegas, all of that, because we know that they are all related. And that connected the Walmart case with Richard's case. And what we discovered is that the same people involved in Richard's case is involved in the Walmart mass shooting case. And that even Bliss Avenue is connected to Felix Valenzuela, which is he is the defense attorney for Patrick Crucius, right? Now that's shocking. So that means even the defense attorney is connected to, in the Walmart case, is connected to Richard's case. Um, and there's so much more. And so, because it was so shocking and apparent, very apparent, that if we solved the Walmart case, because it's all gummed up, y'all. It is all gummed up. Um, the truth has been kept from us when it comes to the Walmart case, the Walmart mass shooting of August 3rd, 2019. Okay, the narrative is absolutely baloney. It's the big it is such baloney, and it only takes a few minutes for a little research to realize it's baloney. Okay. And so we had to do that. We want to find our son. So we looked into the Walmart mass shooting, and lo and behold, the media darling, if you look up Walmart mass shooting, the media darling that's all over every major publication, I mean, all over, um, is a man named Ernest Christopher Grant. And he goes by Chris Grant, I think. Chris Grant. Um, El Pasoan. He says he's an El Pasoan. He knows Spanish, so he knows he's from that area. And he is absolutely connected. Um, and he's absolutely up to no good. So, you know, what was so telling about all of these news agencies that reported on him was that they went along and agreed to spread his rhetoric, his very racist, vile account of what happened in that Walmart. They did not vet him. He is not to be believed. He's an unreliable source. He's up to no good. He, wow. Um, I want to say it, but I'm going to hold off a little bit. But he's up to no good. He is absolutely a criminal with over 40 incidences on his record. You name it, he's got it. Um, it's bad. And we had Chris Cuomo posing with him from CNN, and Beto O'Rourke posing with him from CNN. We had the port director of the CBP saying, she's the angel. She saved his life and everything, and posing with him. Um, and this is very soon. I think a day or two after. Oh, I have to look at that. What the dates were. Um, I'll look at that after the live stream. But I think it's very, very telling how quick this was to put this up, because where is the investigation? Because if I was an investigator, I would be investigating him, because he was absolutely up to no good to cause so much hate mongering and division and just vile and vulgar rhetoric. And he couldn't, the thing is he was already proven with the soda bottles that, that was a lie. The El Paso Police Department was like, oh no, that didn't happen. And then he had to go and maintain, because if he didn't maintain that he threw soda bottles, which was clear that he did not throw soda bottles, because Patrick Crucius did not have one drop of soda on him. Matter of fact, he didn't look like it. He didn't even have a drop of blood on him. And the Hispanic police officer that arrested him, because not because he caught him, because Patrick Crucius, who's supposed to be this huge racist, voluntarily surrendered to him, right? Voluntarily surrendered, at that intersection, right? And he surrendered voluntarily to an Hispanic police officer. And there was no like, oh, he's going to shoot me in the head or anything like that. Matter of fact, the word is out that he wasn't even read his Miranda rights. that his hands were not even bagged, that his hands were not even bagged. So, did they not think he shot anybody? Did they not want to test the possible 1,000 bullets that he had to shoot? What were his weapons even able to shoot that many? Let's say, was his weapon even was it even possible for his weapon to shoot um, 100 bullets, 50 bullets, 20 bullets? Because with the number of people that were injured, the number of reports that was going on there, of shots and everything, there was close to about 1,000 bullets shot. And they didn't bag his hand. They didn't want to see if they could find any residue from the gun. No residue on his body, especially on his hands. So there had to have been gunpowder on his hands, right? But no bagging of the hands. And you can see that clearly in the video. And you clearly in the pictures. There's pictures and video out. Clearly, you can download them. You can look at, you can enlarge it. You can look at it very carefully. And so I don't think this is corroborating evidence that Ernest Chris Grant uh, was setting him up. I think was setting up um, the whole mass shooting as something that had political implications, that could be used to hypnotize with these vile, vulgar messages. And we saw that with Sylvia Sosudo. Then was she influenced by Christopher Grant? Because she was in so unnecessary fear. Unnecessary fear that was brought on by this racist, vile, vulgar messaging that was put out by the media all over the place, right? All over the place. And Sylvia Sosudo is like afraid to death going on the news. You know, uh, I can't even believe that the news agencies would put that kind of fear mongering out there, that kind of division out there to make these victims of El Paso Walmart shooting have to suffer longer. They have to suffer even longer because of this vile, vulgar um, dream attack that they did, like a nightmare, I should say, a nightmare attack that they put in these people's heads that was something very different. Because who was Ernest Christopher Grant? Who was he? Do not tell me that this criminal is nobody. It's kind of like them telling me that FBI Nadal Baim is nobody. And he turns out to be the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, and having conflicts of interest with FBI supervisory agent Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr., right? Oh, he's nobody. He's nobody. Do not tell me that Ernest Christopher Grant, who was the absolute media darling for New York Times, for all over the world, not just the United States, all over the world, and they didn't vet him? They didn't vet him? Are they like learning from Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, using unreliable sources to weaponize their publications against the very people they're supposed to be reporting the truth, the news to? Because that's not news. That's a weapon. That's a mental weapon, a psychological weapon. That's called propaganda. And it is so divisive. And when it's so divisive, then, you're really hurting the entire country, the land, and the people. And so don't tell me he's a nobody. He's a somebody, and he's a somebody up to no good. And he's a somebody that did a lot of harm, a lot of harm. Um, 23 people killed, rest in peace. 22, I think, injured, maybe 23 injured. And then all the injured that are psychologically injured. But what about the aftermath of all of this propaganda, this weaponization of all the media? What did that do in all of the crimes? How did that affect all the uh, the domino effect of crimes because of this rhetoric, this division? I, that would be a good study. It is so damaging what Chris Grant said. So damaging because there is evidence that no way all this stuff is the way they say. Because Patrick Crusius is autistic. Patrick Crusius um, has admitted to other things, quite the opposite. Patrick Crusius has a severe mental condition, health, a severe mental health condition. So says Judge Walmara. I doubt. I think there needs to be an analysis on all of that social media that is contributed to Patrick Crusius. Um, and why am I saying that? Is this in defense of Patrick Crusius? Patrick Crusius admits to killing one, I think, one or two. Um, and then, of course, he pled guilty or whatever. This is not a defense of Patrick Crusius. Patrick Crusius is going to spend 8,000 years in prison in the Florence, Colorado, most secure, high max security prison with the worst type of criminals, 90 consecutive life sentences. Okay, that's a done deal. This is not a defense of Crusius. What it is I think there's murderers walking around. And I think that the media, the weaponization of the words of whoever Chris Grant is, okay? Who is he? And to spread those words around like they did without a proper investigation, to spread that kind of hate. It's kind of like the schools spreading Charles Darwin's stupid, stupid racist theory for so many years and, making it seem like fact that we're like from monkeys and, this is chaos and blah, 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 and only the so and so survive and this and that. I mean, it's the most racist, stupid rhetoric. It's a really bad book. It's a super bad book. That's why it's not required reading. Um, and they spread this stuff that makes people not know how precious they are, not know how wonderfully we can absolutely get along with each other if these hate mongers stop spreading this rhetoric and this false news and this false hate that they do, um, and really prosecute the criminals, to really identify the crime and identify the criminals and document it and prosecute it if they would really do that. But no, we have the likes of Bill Hicks more concerned about doing harm to an elected DA by, you know, colluding, or I should say, working in concert with Justin Underwood, okay, working in concert with Bob Moore to and this is in the open records that they were investigating and reporting on and presenting how to unseat an elected DA, an elected official, and then to get into office illegitimately without signing his statement of officer, which is called the anti-bribery law, knowing that Patrick Crucius is going to spend the rest of his life in the Alcatraz of the Rockies, but working diligently to take over that case. Why? To leave it in pieces, so says Loretta Lynn Hewitt. Because she resigned because she was just like, I don't want any part of this. This is all politics. This is not about identifying the crime and documenting it and prosecuting the crime. This is not what this is. Um, so and those aren't her exact words, but she's like, this is politics. This is Bill Hicks is playing politics. And absolutely, he was engaged before he even became the DA in using employees, seems to be using employees in the office of the district attorney to give him information about what was going on in there. So he says. So he says in the open records. I'll let you know more. Um, that is just so criminal. So criminal. Doing everything backwards. And, and of course, in our son's case, when we were, requesting, and we still do have these requests for open records, he was doing motions, putting out motions with the attorney general there in Texas to deny us access. That's not what a DA is supposed to do. And then get this. This is huge. Before he and up until who knows if it crossed a little bit, because remember he had a hard time signing that anti-bribery statement, right? Which he needed to do before he even took an oath of office for anything for him, so everything he did before, I think whatever he's done is illegitimate. I've rolled it in my head, and because I'm like, he messed with timestamps. So says Reyes Mata. I mean, that hurts El Pasoans, because that means if you get away with messing and altering timestamps, that is the foundation of any investigation and any identification of crime and documenting crime and prosecuting crime. So then we really don't have justice if we can't depend on our timestamps. And the timestamps were left out in Richard's investigation that Dirty Agent Marlon Soto said were used, and they proved that Richard was innocent of what they were saying. It was so ridiculous what they were saying. Anyway, I don't like to repeat it because, that would be repeating false information that can hurt people and yeah. So, so back to Bill Hicks and what he was doing, other than colluding to unseat Yvonne Rosales. He was representing Purchase Funeral Homes. Now, this is huge. They are huge. That's a lot of work. They have five, I think five in El Paso, and I don't know how many. I know they have uh, some in Juarez. This is a big business, and it is a delicate business because you have to work to make sure that you're following the laws of handling deceased people's bodies. Okay, so you're handling remains. There's a lot of rules around handling remains. And so he's representing this huge funeral home. And that funeral home handled many of the deceased in the August 3rd, 2019 mass shooting that happened at Walmart. That would include Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia's ex husband, um, who was single, never married, um, who died August 3rd, 2019, and was serviced by Purchase Funeral Homes. Now, there is so many conflicts of interest with Bill Hicks just in that fact. And of course, for us, I'm like, okay, I know that the funeral homes absolutely had to work alongside Dr. Mario Raskin Ortiz, who is connected to 3905 Bliss Avenue, who's connected to Tanya Katzen, who's connected to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who's connected to um, the defense attorney Felix Valenzuela. Um, and they're all connected, of course, with Richard's case, with the Walmart case, and there's so many more, y'all. There's so many more. So it is it's all being exposed, and once you understand the many facets of these cases, it makes a lot of sense. And we haven't even started with the connections with Dream Cabaret. Cabaret? Yeah, Dreams Cabaret, the strip um, nightclub right there in El Paso, because that is also a place where people are connected to, and that's very important in this case. And so this is so big, and this puts us in danger, you know. Uh, but we've been in danger from day one because we are Richard's parents, and look what they did to Richard. And just to care for Richard is a dangerous game now because he wasn't what they could understand. They couldn't understand who he is. He was so not like them. Remember the video where he's taking his Hollywood money? You know, he bought that Hollywood money in Ireland. He bought that Hollywood money in Florida with the kids. You know, here, take $100, Hollywood money. Um, and you know, we'd ask him, "Why are you doing that, Richard? Why are you buying this Hollywood money? Why do you want to get?" He goes, "It makes people happy when you give them, hey, here's a Benjamin. It makes people happy." It's fun. It's fun. They can't buy anything with it, but um, it was just fun. And when you're a little kid and you get this $100 play money that really looks kind of real, and you can use it. You can use it for fun. Um, Yeah, it was a pretty clever way of getting those children to behave and be happy and all of that. So when he was in El Paso, when he was at Fort Bliss, and he was burning some of those Hollywood $100 bills, um, and saying, you know, I rather burn my money. He made this video. I rather burn my money than spend it on whores and blow. That was a message to El Paso. That was a message to Fort Bliss, to the command, to the world, what was going on Fort Bliss. And I said that a long time ago. I said, oh, he was giving us a message. And they didn't understand it because Belinda's the one that showed us that video, and she was like, "See what he did," you know, and I'm like, "Yeah, that was a pretty good message. What's wrong with that message?" And she's like, "What? That was not the reaction I." Yeah, that was our reaction was, "Wow, that message is pretty good." And everything that Richard left behind, um, you know, the conversation with Boleyn to tell her not to do it, not to go on, be a stripper, right? Be a stripper and film it and all that. Don't do it. Don't do it. They don't respect you. They only, they say they respect you, but they really don't. They think of you bad. Um, and the guys, they're just horny. They just want to see you naked. That was his warning to her. Um, thank God he warned her, right? I think those words will ring forever, and they're true because there's no honor amongst thieves. There's no honor amongst thieves, and they will sell her out. Just by supporting her as a young mother to do that is selling her out to trouble and preventing her from using the gifts that God has given her to use to do something good, to be a blessing in this world. And these sex cults and all of that, that's not a blessing. Those are just places where bad things happen, and bad things do happen, and they get investigated. It's all in there. It's all, you can find the investigations. I believe Dreams Cabaret has been investigated too for stuff, and um, but it's kind of like what I started with as an analogy of, you have few people that's like, hey, boss, we got a pedophile here that's really bugging us, and he's bringing it, and isn't that illegal? Shouldn't we have him arrested? And he's bugging us and everything. And the boss is like, well, you're fired. You're fired for even mentioning it. Um, and you're like, what? You're firing us? Why don't you fire the pedophile? This is, it's the same. It's the same thing. You have, uh, you know, terrible things happening in these places, and fentanyl and other drugs and prostitution and whatever illegal human trafficking and child porn production, which is child torture, and illegal weapons purchases, um, shots, people being hurt, people being killed. You have all these things happening, and they're like, "What? You don't like it? You don't like it? uh, you're a whistleblower. We need to kill you and dismember you and make an example out of you." This is the problem that we're facing. So we're not willing to go along with their Vanity Fair, their uh, bad manners, their betrayal of our country, of the land and the people, and all their criminal doings and everything. We're not going to go along with it. And so we've been writing letter after letter after letter because we're law abiding. We're law abiding. We know the system is all gummed up. We know it. We know that there are individuals in there that are all gummed up, that are compromised. We know that. But the system is bigger than they are. And and it's very big, too big. Um, but we are just writing letter after letter after letter after letter because we know that there is no honor amongst thieves, that they will, at the end of the day, start trying to cover for themselves. And by covering for themselves, um, you know, the way God works it all out is that somehow, some way, there's justice at the end of the tunnel. That's the light at the end of the tunnel. And so keep writing the letters. And even if you don't get the responses that you want, this is our message for today because we're pretty upbeat with what we're getting back. For the first time, we're actually getting some honesty, and uh, and it's making people pay attention. You might not like what you get back. You might not even understand what you get back. We don't understand half of the stuff we get back. We have to go to the books, go to the Google, go to, look everything up to understand what's coming back. But what it does do is it pads the file. And now you have evidence. And that's what you need. To move forward, you have to have evidence, you have to have proof. And so we have over the last year, especially the last few weeks, really padded the file, padded other people's files, and we have the proof. And there's no doubt in our mind that this is a huge foul play, that this is a code red, that this is an abduction, an illegal abduction, um, even under the guise of maybe an arrest because law enforcement are involved in this with Dirty Agent Marlon Soto and DES Thomas Kane and Dirty Agent Tavita Nusa and very compromised Jesus Eddie Nieto, right? Um, and also compromised and violating the 5013C Bob Moore. He was part of. I mean, he's so criminal. Bob Moore is so criminal. He needs to be arrested. And the IRS now is investigating. I mean, we got message that the IRS is investigating him, and he's just up to no good in all of this. So, and he actively participated in trying to sabotage our son's case, which is just unthinkable evil. Unthinkable evil. Um, yeah, so I know I'm leaving out so many things because there's so many facets to this, but the messaging is that we are not giving up, that we hope that you don't give up. Don't give up on fighting for justice. Share this message, share this story, and look up the cases, look up what happened, look up and really discern for yourself. Open your eyes and discern for yourself when you watch Patrick Crucius stand there and at the sentencing, and his response to everyone telling him to go to hell, and even worse, even worse. And and he's and calling him a racist, and he's like, no. Yeah, it's really something. And look up who Chris Grant is. And why did Beto want to sit beside him? Why did Chris Cuomo want to sit beside him? Why did the governor of Texas want to sit beside him? Um, Now, when he went up to Washington, D.C., the Secret Service arrested him. That was interesting. So, yeah. Why did Donna Sifford want to sit beside him and hold his hand? Um, and who is she? And who is Donna Sifford? Right? Port. She's supposed to be the port director for CBP there, right? But she goes. That's a huge job. But she goes to Walmart without her sidearm. That's weird. Something is not right. So thank you, everyone. Help us out by looking all this stuff up, and keep praying. And we love you. Thank you for watching. And we will be back. We will be back tomorrow, God willing. And just remember, there's no honor amongst thieves. And that is a really, really good opportunity for those that are looking for truth and justice. Thank you, everyone. God bless you. Bye bye.